Kicking off the list at number 10, doorbell lawn camera. We'll start with a recent doorbell cam recording, okay? Those are always terrifying. Every time I see one of these, first of all, I think of the Paranormal Activity franchise. I get so creeped out just looking at them. This video was submitted by Robert Parks. Now it shows the lawn, his front lawn, around 4 a.m. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a naked man appears. That's always fun. Yeah, he was trying to cover up his, goods, or not goods rather, but given the fact that he was still, naked, it was pretty horrifying after the fact. You can't hear it because we had to mute the audio, obviously, but he's yelling about snakes being all over him. Yeah, luckily police arrived and gave the man the help he needed, but imagine somebody going through a rough time. Like, I feel bad, but you also have to stay safe at the same time. You can't have a naked dude running inside your home talking about snakes on a plane or whatever.
In our number 9 spot, we have the US Navy UFO footage. Again. Apparently the US Navy recorded some aerial footage where you see triangles flashing in the sky. The footage is recorded with night vision goggles, and it came right after the Navy reported a number of unidentifiable objects in the area off the US coast. What exactly these objects are remains unsolved. Clearly they are UFOs, but of course the CIA and the government will do everything they can to avoid saying those words. If it ain't from this planet, then it must be from somewhere else. I bet you an alien will actually land here at some point and they'll still be hesitant to admit the truth. An unidentifiable being was seen walking around, they'll say. In our number 8 spot, we have Kenny VEACH. This is a video of a guy by the name of Kenny VEACH who went missing after going for a hike near the infamous Area 51. This video gained some popularity because in it, Kenny described that he was searching for a mysterious cave that he once came across where he felt a very strange force field around it. He described how he felt like he was getting hot from the inside, and as he got closer to it, it got worse, and so he quickly ran away. In this video, he's on the hunt for the cave again, but after the video was posted, Kenny went missing. He was on a 3-day hiking trip to find this cave when suddenly everyone stopped hearing from him. There are many conspiracy theories over this. Some say he found the cave, and if it really did have that force field around it, then it could have obliterated him. People believe that this cave and force field is linked to the mysteriousness of Area 51. Even though Kenny's girlfriend shared that Kenny had depression and suspects that he took his own life, we don't know if that's real or not, as the CIA could be covering up for the fact that Kenny found a way into Area 51. It's super sus that everyone's seemingly onto something just takes their own life. In our number 7 spot, we have Isaac Kappy. Isaac Kappy is an American actor that was best known for being in Thor and a bunch of other prominent productions. He's also best known for being a Hollywood whistleblower and speaking about what goes on in Hollywood. The Harvey Weinstein goings on, that kind of thing. Calling out such names as Seth Green and Steven Spielberg. Isaac started to receive death threats and spoke about how he might be killed. Then all of a sudden, he made a video talking about how there's now darkness within him and that this video would be his last video. He also spoke about how he was not thinking about taking his own life, in case anyone says that he is, which is what makes this video even more curious. There is much speculation as to whether he ended up taking his own life or whether he was actually killed. All that's clear is this last video of him and all of his YouTube content has been suppressed online. Why? Perhaps because they don't want what he previously spoke about to be public knowledge. Perhaps. In our number 6 spot, we have Obama's security shapeshifter. In 2012, at the US-Israel Policy Conference, President Obama was making a speech, and while he was doing so, the cameras caught something very extraordinary. Every so often, the cameras would pan out into the audience and show the audience, of course, but also the security guards. In one shot, the camera catches one of the bodyguards from behind, looking completely different than he did from the front. We see a bald man with no ears and a pointy chin. His nose looks short and rounded, and his eyes appear to be dark and sunken in. Most think that because it was so dark and crowded that people would have missed this, and that the camera caught this shapeshifter in a blip of a moment in its true form. But of course, this footage has been suppressed from the public, and people believe the CIA is concerned with this getting out because it confirms an alien race. In our number 5 spot, we have the time traveler from 1938. In this clip, we see a group of girls walking and talking, and one of the girls in particular is walking and talking into what looks to be a cell phone. Yes, a cell phone in 1938. The first cell phone is only known to have been invented in 1973, so the fact that she's talking on what looks to be a flip phone is impossible, right? Well, even though this video has made its rounds online, it's still quite suppressed, and it's surprising how people have still not seen it. Could it possibly be due to the fact that it exposes that time travel may exist? That would certainly be concerning to the CIA. Which brings me to our number 4 spot, the 1928 time traveler. This video clip is from an older movie and time than the time traveler clip before, but it is no less suspicious. It is yet another clip that has been suppressed due to the nature of it possibly being concerning to the CIA or anyone wanting time travel to be covered up. It's a clip from a Charlie Chaplin movie called The Circus, where a rather fancy dressed woman is talking into a device that is being held to her ear. Now you could say, could that not be a walkie-talkie if not a cell phone? Nope. Even the walkie-talkie wasn't invented until the 30s. This woman is without a doubt talking into a device held to her ear, and so if it is not a portable phone, then I have no idea what it is. What do you think she's holding in her hand and talking to? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. In our number 3 spot, we have the Alleyway shapeshifter. Okay, this is one of the craziest videos I have ever seen of a shapeshifter, and it's wild to me that this video has been suppressed. Well, maybe not wild, because I guess the shapeshifters clearly don't want people to know that they exist, and so, they throw themselves into movie plots like Captain Marvel so you don't think twice about the idea of their existence, and you chalk it up to an idea being something that you just see in movies. So I suppose it's not that surprising that this video is not more known. Anyways, here we have footage of a person that goes into an alleyway that is semi-lit and stands still, and then what appears to be a dark shadow leaves its body and walks away, and the person remains frozen. This clip has been heavily debated for some time now, but apparently it's completely authentic and kinda unexplainable. Of course, the CIA would be concerned about it. In our number 2 spot, we have the NBC shapeshifter. This is a crazy clip from 1995 that is one of the first reptile men clips you can find on the internet. If you haven't ever heard of the theory of the reptile man, well, it goes like this. People believe that as far back as the ancient Mesopotamia times that reptile people have existed among us humans. A lot of people believe that Hollywood is specifically where a lot of them reside. Anyways, this is a clip of an NBC reporter from the 90s by the name of Isaiah Carey, who was in the middle of filming when he swallowed a grasshopper. If you zoom in to the point where he swallows it, you can observe him having an abnormally large, somewhat pointy tongue, and the color is slightly green. The reporter turned away from the camera right as this happened. Most people think that he turned away from the camera to hide his tongue, which is possible, but one could argue that it's more likely because this is something so gross and embarrassing that happened on live TV. Do you think this is a reptile man and perhaps the CIA has suppressed this video due to the fact that it could reveal this alien race? Let me know in the comment section down below. In our number 1 spot, we have the fast UFO. This is more footage that the US government released showing an unidentifiable object in the sky. In this footage, you actually see an object moving in the sky, and we can kind of pick up on the fact that it's an unusual shape. This particular UFO is moving pretty fast, and the camera is having a hard time keeping up. There's no question though that this is something that we've never seen before. The Pentagon wouldn't have released it if it didn't feel that it has validity. This was the final of the 3 Pentagon videos that were declassified and shared with us common folk. Oh, why thank you government for telling us that it's possible that alien life has come to Earth. As if we didn't already know this, and as if we are not aware of the fact that you definitely have more footage that you're keeping from us, CIA.
Starting up this list in our number 10 spot. Okay, so at the beginning of this video, while nothing super creepy happens, the whole vibe of the video is just unsettling. There's like some sort of puppet looking doll who seems like maybe they're hosting a children's show. They ask if you would like to sing with them, and then they begin singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which should just be harmless. After the song ends and the screen fades to black, the exact same sequence repeats. The screen then fades to black again, and the sequence begins again, but this time the puppet has no eyes and ends up not singing the song at all, but just looking creepy with its no eyes. We then hear some sort of alarm sound as a strange sort of photograph barely comes across the screen. If this wasn't enough, to end off the video, we just see the puppet's head floating with an extremely disturbing smile on its face. The audio is a little distorted, but it's telling some weird story about their dad and them asking for a toy, but their dad says no.
Can I have a toy? No. He says, you are a bad boy.
All in all, I have no idea what is going on in this video, but I feel like I might be cursed after watching it.
Number 9. Bigfoot caught on tape. This video is said to have caught the Russian Bigfoot himself. Also, Russian Bigfoot, another Bigfoot, are there many Bigfoots? We'll talk later. The exact location of where this video was taken is still unknown. In fact, there isn't a ton known about this video at all, hence why it's on our list today. But what we do know is that it was taken somewhere in Russia and that people believe it captures the real Bigfoot. It's a short clip that captures him, so I'm just gonna show you guys and then you can decide for yourselves. Comment down below. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence personally. If Bigfoot was real, it's time we pay up. I mean, come on. This man's image has been used in the media for years. How is he paying his bills? Also, is there one Bigfoot or multiple? Is there a Russian Bigfoot? Is there a Canadian Bigfoot? Is Chris the Canadian Bigfoot? I don't know. Maybe. He wears a lot of plaid, who knows? Number 8, Matt doesn't live here. Okay, this one I need your help on. There's a backstory that I need to figure out right now. Back in 2016, in the middle of an August summer night, this man approaches. Again, topless, always a great sign, just naked dudes approaching homes all of a sudden. And he's slowly approaching and he's looking back at somebody off camera. He has a look like he's about to rob the place almost. It's kinda, he's doing this. He's kind of tiptoeing in and out, it's not looking good. But instead of knocking and running like we all did when we were 15 years old, he pretends to knock. He knocks the air and then pretends to ask somebody who's not there if Matt is home. I don't know if he did this so the other person could see, maybe it was like a prank or a dare, or maybe it was an attempt to break in and we just didn't really connect all the dots, or he didn't follow through with the plan, or he chickened out, I don't know. Either way, I'm glad nothing really bad happened. So creepy, either way. Number 7, MILGRAM experiment footage. This video comes to us from the 1960s and it's apparently from the experiment known as the MILGRAM experiment. Basically, the premise was that they got two groups of people, okay? One called the teachers and one called the learners. And they paired them up, one from each group. So far, so good? Awesome. The pair couldn't see each other, but the teacher would ask the learner a question. The teacher was then told to give them an electrical shock. Yeah, every question made the shocks get worse and worse until an eventual fatal shock would be administered.
It'll be 195 volts. The correct one.
Let me out of here.
Slow.
Get me
Dance.
out of here. My heart's bothering me.
Now, before the experiment, it was proposed that only 3% of the participants would go all the way and would actually give the fatal shock. But it turned out that under pressure, 65% of the teachers actually gave the lethal dose of electricity to their learner counterparts. Now, luckily the students were actually just actors, so nobody was truly getting hurt here, hence the experiment. But it is honestly very creepy to see on footage. We always heard about this, but seeing it happen, it does something in here that I don't really like. Number 6, TV head. Stepping away from the worst of the worst or the weird or whatever's going on in that last video, let's shine the spotlight on some, I guess, creative happenings, dare I say? Like for example, the guy wearing a TV on his head. Apparently that's a thing now. Awesome. In Toronto, we have a guy that walks backwards around the city. And then here in Virginia, they have a guy who wears a TV on their head. So back in 2019, this man would appear all over in Virginia. He visited more than 50 residents in his time, and he would show up with a TV as a head, and then if that wasn't already creepy enough, he would leave an old TV on your doorstep in the middle of the night, and then just leave. That's so annoying to move. Also, it is pretty creepy. Many believe this man was inspired by the comic book series Saga. There's a race of TV alien heads. This could be a fan of, Prince Robot IV. Either way, this is annoying. You're walking on our property, you're leaving TVs. I wouldn't lift this up. Are you kidding? My brittle back? I couldn't lift a TV. I can't even lift a laptop now. Get out of here. Number 5. Salem Road. This video shows a couple guys driving in a truck down a road in what looks to be like a very rural area. It's not too bright or fun. Now they're just two guys being dudes hanging out, blasting some Coldplay, whatever you do with your dudes on the weekends. Now you know a little bit more about me. All of a sudden they come across a woman dressed in white walking down the middle of the road. So they turn down their Coldplay, probably, and they swear a bunch. Obviously they're in shock. Just a woman walking down in the middle of the road in what appears to be the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden these men driving up behind her. It looks bad from both point of views, know what I mean? They stop the truck and one of them gets out to go check on her to see if she's okay, because she's walking kind of, you know, ghoulish. She's got like the ghoulish walk. Now the guy continues freaking out. He's telling them to get out of there, and the other guys don't believe him until they realize that seemingly out of nowhere this lady is now right in front of their truck. Awesome, we love phantoms. The video ends with this clip. I'm not sure who or what this lady was or what's going on here, but that's all I gotta say. One of these. Number 4, overnight break-in. This next found footage comes from a doorbell camera, one of my favorites, and it shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. This is my worst fear, if I'm being honest here. She starts off by backing up and throwing her body into the window until it finally breaks. Now the stranger wasn't in any immediate danger or anything like that, but it does appear as though she may be a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is obviously sad when you look at it. The woman whose home is obviously freaked out. More than fair. I mean, imagine this happening out of the blue, middle of Survivor finale. You're like, what's that sound? What is that? Yeah, that ought to be jarring. Eventually, a police officer showed up and spoke to the woman who claimed that her friend was in the house. Now, obviously, this was not the case, but this is why I believe she may have been a little confused as to where she was. In the end, it just so happens that alcohol had a little something to do with it, so everyone was okay. It was just a rough night. You know what I mean? Number 3. Chernobyl footage. Okay, this one comes to us from the later 1980s when there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl, obviously. I don't have to go into detail about this one. In April of 1986, there was an explosion and a fire taking place at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This explosion happened when there was an issue and they were trying to begin an experiment which was set to actually make the reactor more safe, but in turn it didn't work out. Unfortunately, the way the reactor was designed placed too much responsibility in the hands of an operator. One thing led to another, and it was this huge, tragic disaster. The amount of radiation in the air caused alarms at the Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden. Footage I'm about to show you is just a small glimpse into what things looked like soon after this took place. I can't imagine how scary this must have been for everybody involved. Even watching it is disturbing, to be honest with you. Chernobyl today is still pretty much a ghost town, but there are people who live there. Some of them never even left in the first place. Number 2, doorbell liquor. And immediately back into the weird stuff. This was one of my favorites, I have to include it. This one's short and sweet, not much explaining to do here. Just a dude going up on a doorbell. Back in 2019, a man was caught on surveillance approaching a home in a neighborhood in Salinas, California. He doesn't say much, he just shows up and, well, like I said, starts licking the doorbell. Just goes to town on this button. Not the camera, the actual button, the actual doorbell itself. He rang the bell apparently hundreds of times. He did this for hours straight. Now the homeowner said in a following interview after seeing the footage, "Oh boy, that is weird." Yeah, see me, I would laugh hysterically, and then after I'd be like, okay, we have to move. Number 1, overnight visitor. This video was taken from a surveillance camera that was placed inside of a couple's home. Yeah, inside, not outside, in. Having a camera inside of your home isn't too common, but sometimes you're lucky you have one. Like this example. These people had one because what it caught while they were sleeping is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. When the couple woke up one day, they were unable to find a purse that they knew was in the house before they went to go to sleep, right? They're like, well, this is pretty much just right there next to my chapstick. I know where my chapstick is. So they decided to check their handy security camera, and this is what they found. As it turns out, the couple fell asleep on the couch watching TV, and as they were sleeping there, a man crept in, and he was so quiet he didn't even wake them or their dog up. Yeah, he stood at the top of their stairs watching them sleep for a few minutes, which just adds another layer of, I'm gonna shit my pants, and then that's it, Bob's your uncle. I wouldn't even keep this tape, I would throw it out. This is cursed in itself. I'm glad the robber only took the purse and didn't do anything else. How scary is that?
In our number 10 spot, we have Superman or UFO. You may not know this, but all of the top secret government information gets declassified after 25 years. Yes, after it's basically useless to know, as I'm sure there is much more relevant information to note. But sometimes, every so often, the government drops us little breadcrumbs to keep us on our toes. Whether the CIA is okay with it, well, we will never know. But Earlier this year, 2022, a press conference was held to speak about some recent footage showing unidentifiable objects in the sky. This first video shows an object in the sky that's just sort of floating by, and then all of a sudden it zooms out of frame. The government has put more money into the study of this unidentifiable aerial object in the last while, but they still have no idea what is flying in this video. Is it not a bird or plane? And no, it is not Superman. I wish. Only of course if it's Henry Cavill though. Boy is he dreamy. This footage was out to the public more than a year ago before the Pentagon revealed that it's legitimate, and they probably only did so because of the pressure from the public to tell the truth.
Moving on to number 9. This video comes from someone who took a video searching around a place called Satan's Bridge. But before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. It begins with someone showing a bunch of animal carcasses, which obviously I'm not going to show here, that have just been left around from possible sacrifice ceremonies that may have taken place in this area. He continues to search the place and ended up recording some footage that I think does an amazing job at capturing the uncomfortable feeling that this place holds. I wish I could know all of the stories that this bridge holds, but I feel like it may be for the best that they remain hidden. The guy filming finds some more evidence of things that could point to satanic rituals being held, and honestly, I'm impressed that he was able to stick around exploring for so long, because I would have been out of there immediately. Moving on, in our number 8 spot. The people who posted this video explained that they received coordinates on the dark web. When they traveled to the coordinates, they found this tape that we're going to be talking about, as well as a collection of other things, all said to belong to a killer. I feel like this tape would have still been creepy without knowing the backstory, but it is 1,000 times creepier having those details. The video is fairly long, and while not a lot happens in it, there's certainly something sinister going on. It is basically just a video of a guy digging a hole with a shovel. We hear him in his car as he arrives at the location, we hear him digging, and you can even see him pick up an object wrapped in a black garbage bag and put it into the hole. You can't really see him. In fact, you can't see much, but there's definitely enough to know what is going on. All I have to say is I really hope that this video is fake. Moving on to number 7. You guys, I'm not gonna lie, I have absolutely no idea what is going on in this video, and I don't even know if I want to find out. First, it starts off with another puppet named Sophia, and then suddenly cuts to this creepy masked figure. What was that? Again, I have no idea. We then cut to some blurred out creepy clown face that is calling for someone named Macy, and honestly, I hope Macy runs in the opposite direction.
Macy! I order you to come here right now!
The video then cuts to what looks like a tied up clown with more creepy dialogue, and then cuts back to the clown face from before, but is more visible this time. In the end, it cuts back to Sophia, and she asks if we want to sing a song with her, and then that's the end. Honestly, I was happy to reach the end of this video because it had me very creeped out. Moving on to number 6. This video was apparently filmed in 1988 and was found in a scary abandoned log cabin deep in a forest in Poland a few decades later. The footage shows whoever is operating the camera walking around filming the log cabin. They end up getting to an open window and are kind of focused on it and studying it, when all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just snaps shut. At the same time, a paranormal sounding yell can be heard, but no one is around and the camera goes blank. I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but I would have been out of the cabin as fast as I could possibly go. Moving on to number 5. This video comes from 2001 and shows a group of teenagers who are trying to summon a spirit while of course recording it for the camera. They start in a circle all holding hands with their eyes closed and one of their friends in the center of the circle. They're trying to get the spirit to contact them through the friend that's in the middle, but things start to go awry when one of the friends holding hands in the circle collapses.
Então, ai caraças, destino.
At first his friends think that he's just playing around with them, but then he starts convulsing and everyone gets extremely freaked out. After he gets up from the floor, he is not only acting scary, but his posture has certainly changed and everyone else who is there is rightfully extremely scared.
Espíritos prontos.
Sustine. Não sustine, caralho. Opa, não lhe toque, caraças, diz! Olha as costas dele, meu! Olha as costas dele!
The video shows the rest of the boys being super frightened by their now possessed friend's scary behavior, and they're just trying to figure out what to do.
Até olha, Nelson, desculpa lá, porque meu filho não pode ser pela estrada, deixas aqui o André e o Celso. A gente volta, né? E não tem coragem de ir à procura deles agora com o Fox, né, Gabriel? Eles são meus irmãos, gosto bem deles. Mas fica de dia, pá.
By the end of the video, their real friend has luckily come back to them, but he doesn't remember anything that happened to him. Moving on to number 4. This footage comes from Paraguay. It was taken on a camcorder that had some spots filmed over by other family members. The audio and the video ended up getting blended and corrupted and just left us with this footage that looks like it could be straight out of a horror movie. Because it's so messed up, I really don't know what is going on, but I'll show you some of the video so that you can see what I mean. I don't know why, but that one kid who looks like they're sitting on top of a roof really freaks me out. Coming in at number 3. This video was posted to TikTok by a user named Sarah Turney. I've spoken about Sarah in another video of mine and how she used TikTok to help her close the case of her sister's disappearance. When Sarah was young, her sister Alyssa went missing and no one was ever charged with the crime, but Sarah always knew it was her dad and set out to prove it and have him charged so that she could bring justice for her sister. Sarah released some VHS footage on TikTok that ended up going absolutely viral. Apparently her dad would follow Alyssa around and film her, and later they found out that he had cameras hidden in their house, which is just very bizarre behavior. This video is one of many that Sarah posted on TikTok and shows when her dad followed Alyssa to her fast food job and was sitting in the parking lot filming her. While this video is super creepy on its own, since it's very obvious that she doesn't want to be filmed, it's even more creepy considering all we know now. Luckily, Sarah's TikToks worked. Near the end of 2020, her dad actually ended up being arrested and charged with the disappearance and presumed death of Alyssa, which is a huge win for Sarah. Moving on to number 2. This VHS tape was found at an estate sale that was being held in a barn. The person who uploaded this tape found them among the 10 boxes that they had purchased, among other things such as records, rusted tools, and old paint cans. This video shows someone walking through some sort of mildly wooded area in the daytime, which, okay, yeah, fine. But then it cuts to a night scene and it just really leaves me with an uncomfortable feeling. absolutely no idea what the white thing being dragged is, but I absolutely do not want to find out. Moving on to our number 1 spot. This video was found under a bridge in Russia. It shows what sounds like a teenager filming the video while riding his bike up to the underside of this bridge. A very strange noise can be heard as he is approaching. This brave soul continues to stick around and investigate the sound further before something pretty scary happens.
Слышите? Ёпта. Сука. Что? Ты кто это? Кто это? Кто это?
I don't know what that sound was or what happened to that boy, but I really hope he made it out of there because that video did not end well. Alright guys,